Must have played 10,000 shows, lived his whole life on the road. Smoky rooms and one-night stands. He lived for the moment, never made no plans.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Born and raised in Chicago, Illinois. And when I was born, I could only see out of one eye due to glaucoma. When I was 3, I lost the use of my so-called good eye, so I basically have been physically blind since birth, since I don't remember being able to see anything at 3 years old, or before I was 3 years old. And my parents divorced when we were really young, so my brother and I were raised by my father's parents, and my sisters were raised by my mother. And I grew up in Chicago, then moved to Gary, Indiana, graduated from high school there, went to Indiana University for undergraduate work, Purdue for master's, and PhD work at Wayne State University in Detroit, Michigan, which is where I met my wife, Regina. Got married in 1986. So, took my first job back in South Bend, Indiana, and I'm setting this all up for you to tell you how I got to OU. And it was while I was in South Bend that I decided to interview for a job here at OU on like a truth and dare thing. A friend of mine, I'd never heard of OU. I'd never heard of Athens, and had no intention of leaving South Bend. And came down here in February 1992, interviewed, and the rest is history, as they say. They made me an offer I couldn't refuse. I found a department that I felt comfortable with.
J.W., do you think that your blindness has affected your life, music, or your desire for an education?
Yeah, I think all of that. I think certainly a thirst for education. My grandmother used to tell me, I was raised by my grandparents, so she used to tell me, one path for you to success is education. So I saw that as a way to, to gain full employment, get a job. And then musically, I started playing guitar when I was like 10, then piano 11, 12. And all through high school, music was like a way for me to not just fit in, but thrive as a blind person. I'd get girls to go out with me. They probably wouldn't have went out with me if I couldn't sing. So I used it to my advantage, and played the piano, and that was a great time. So I think it impacted both. Absolutely.
Well, I'm sure that's the truth, because blind or not, girls always
I know
play
they love those musicians and singers. You're right. And believe me, I played it up to the hilt.
What do you think about the music scene here in Athens?
When I first came here, I didn't know much about it. You had to learn a new place. And so I didn't know much about it. I was amazed at the music scene at the campus, obviously with the School of Music and all those young kids around there. But quite honestly, you guys really turned me on to this music scene here. When I found you guys and started listening to your old show, that Hometown Showcase, I was really amazed at how much music was down here. Now, I don't know if you remember, but at that time, there was that club called the Blue Gator. And I started playing there like once a quarter when the university was on quarter systems. And I, not just playing there, but I started going there to hear different groups. And so many different musicians came through here. And as you know, it's a college town. So, I never liked a lot of the venues that a lot of the kids liked. So I liked the Gator because they would bring in musicians and acts that I thought were appealing to me.
Yeah.
And so through your show, and then when I started recording with you guys, that's when I started discovering the amount of talent down here. I was amazed. And then I started working with Alex Kalatis on this legend thing, and it started with us doing like a fundraiser for the police chief's son. And he did Elvis that first day, and at that fundraiser, and I did some stuff. And so my collaboration with him also turned me on to the talent around here. And unfortunately, some of those musicians have passed away now, but they were phenomenal musicians. When you get the students who come down, then some of them who stay, right? They stay and put down roots and they continue to make their music. Then you get some of the people who are born down here, like hidden gems, I call them. They're really good that nobody's heard of. You're like, man, it's amazing. I just sort of erroneously thought this was just sort of a country Appalachia type environment, but I found a variety of music that's been amazing to me. Your show did so much of that, but I don't know why that concept isn't a real popular one in different places, because the showcase of talent, the opportunity to hear people. As I said, that's how I discovered it, and that's how I discovered you guys, and we discovered each other.
The river at the ending of my day, when the last winds of sorrow.
Do you consider yourself more of an educator or a musician, or maybe a combination of both?
Great question. I like to say I teach by day and sing by night. And they keep me sane. So like when I start getting too academic and, talking about rhetoric and all, then I can go and play the piano, write a song, or perform. It's ironic. I used to have a cat, and she was really, she had two weird parts about her. One, she loved Polo cologne. I tested it. I'd wear any other cologne. She wouldn't give me the time of day. She loved Polo cologne. And number two, when she wanted me to play the piano, she'd come and basically let me know. I'd go to the piano. She'd sit in my lap. I'd play for about 10 minutes. She'd say, okay, I'm good. Take off. So it's always been a part of my life. I like the balance. And they both keep me balanced. I'll put it like that.
I think each one makes you better in the other position.
I think that's right. That's right. They keep me from going to one side or the other. Right. I got my artistic side and I got my academic side. And I'll tell you what, sometimes I find ways to fuse them both. Like in a classroom, sometimes I'll picture the class as sort of like either an audience at a performance or as sort of part of a choir or band that I want to orchestrate. So it comes into play sometimes, metaphorically and in many other ways.
Going forward, what are your professional goals? What would you like to do?
That's a good question. I've been doing the professor thing 30 years now plus. I've been at OU since, this is my 24th year here. People every once in a while say, when are you going to retire? I was like, well, I got a good 10 years left in me in academia. I have, especially since my kids keep spending all my money, so I better keep making it so they can have it, or maybe I should stop making it so they won't have it. So I would really love to get in administration. I never thought I'd be able to record the kind of music and the variety of music I've done with you guys. I think we've done 6 or 7 recordings in the last 8 or 9 years. That's phenomenal, actually, to get that kind of quality work done. So I guess musically, what I'd like to do is one live performance. I think that's what's left, to do a one-shot live concert deal, combination of gospel and message music, little R&B all rolled up into one. And then academically, I'd love to do administration. I'd love to be a dean. I don't think I'll retire in Athens. So I could see me leaving here soon, a couple of years. Maybe we'll go out west. Those are sort of my nearest professional goals. I was telling them how much music I'd done. I said, no wonder I feel so tired. We've been working so hard at this. I got all it, but it really hasn't been a lot of work. It's been a labor of love, and you guys have made it easy. But we've done a lot of music in the last few years.
Let's talk a bit about the brand new CD, Country Soul, Living on the Edge.
This is a great one. This one here, I'm telling you, I had so much fun doing this CD, but I didn't see it coming. So it started out, people said, why don't you do a country something? And they said, why don't you think about it? I'm like, I'm not country, I'm not a country person, I can't pull that off. But the more we thought about it, we had recorded some stuff. We had a few things in the hopper, as they say. And so then we kept talking about it. You'd bring me a song. Dave would bring me a song. I'm like, When we got about halfway through it, I started seeing it develop. And I'm like, wow. And when you drop the line, of country soul, I'm like, well, that's different. That's unique. That's a genre I bet nobody has thought about. And I don't think they have. And so when we got to the last 2 or 3 songs, that's when it came together for me. We did the song Last Goodbye and Wait Till the Next One Comes Along. Those 2 songs are at the opposites. And those were the 2 that said, yeah, these are the bookends. When we recorded those 2, it came into focus for me. And so what I promoted now as a sort of, I call it like country flavored recording with a soulful touch. Country flavored recording with a soulful touch. So it's it's fresh. It's out there. I'm getting a lot of mixed reviews, mixed in terms of diverse reviews. And I think it's growing on people because it's growing on me.
Well, it has a little bit of everything in that particular genre, and I like it real well. Last Goodbye, I think, is my favorite song on that CD as well.
Yeah, I think it's mine too. As you know, when I heard that song the first time, I was spellbound. I said, play that again, and played that song again. And I said, wow. And when I heard the history of the song and met the artist, as you know, what people don't know is, but I had her come in the studio and be with me while I sang it. And I wanted it that way. And I didn't know why. But as she sat there and I sang that song, so every time I hear that song now, I can never listen to that song once. I have to listen to it like a minimum of 3 times. It takes me 3 times through that song for it to go all through me. So I didn't see that one coming either. That's an amazing song. Well, that's a good one. Ooh, mercy.
You were wrong. Just try. I promise you. This is my last goodbye. It's my last goodbye. It's hard to tell.
J.W., when you do a song that someone else wrote, you always make that song your own.
And I try to do that. And I try to put my whole soul into it. Now, I try to keep it true to the artist, right? With Valerie's song, Last Goodbye, I didn't want to mess that song up. I wanted it to capture her style, her words, but it had to be me too. It had to be me. And so when Dave mixed that and was able to combine our voices, and absolutely perfect. So you get her essence, the essence of her in that song, and me. I can't wait for us to do that song live somewhere. I think it'll have a tremendous impact.
The graphics on this CD were done by Bob Stewart, not the graphics, but the original photo.
Yeah.
He had been out the studio that day. And
right.
Drop you off in front of
the Schoonover Center here.
Yeah, Buffalo Wings.
Oh yeah, BW. That's right. Yeah, you sure did. That's right. That's right.
Yep. And I dropped you off there.
That's right.
And when I got home and turned the computer on,
yeah.
2 hours later, I seen that picture.
Yeah.
So I immediately got in contact with Bob.
Yeah.
He hadn't even agreed to do the
right.
do the CD.
Right.
That picture.
Right.
Put it on the front.
Right.
And with a little work from Dave Norris, we came up with this picture. I think it's really a nice picture. Let me hold it up here for the camera.
Well, when anybody ever sees that picture, they can't, from what I gather, they can't look at it without commenting on it. So that says something about what Bob did. Now, the story of that is like he saw me. I was walking down it. I was walking through. I think I was going to get my hair cut, or either I was going to breakfast. And he said he was walking toward me, and he said he just got this impression, just a spur of the moment, to do this picture. So he spoke to me. He said, "Hi, how you doing?" I'm like, "Great." Well, I went on, had breakfast, I got my hair cut, and I got back to the office, and about an hour later, he sent me this email, and he's like, "When I saw you earlier, I snapped this picture. I'm attaching it here for you. I just felt impressed to do so, and I hope you're okay with that." And that's how that picture developed. And I think, given the concept we were thinking about living on the edge, we couldn't have had a better picture, because originally I hadn't told you and Dave this, but I was thinking about the farm life, the tractor, the cowboy hat, and all that kind of stuff. And my daughter, she's like, "No, don't do the whole country thing." And I was like, "Well, what do I?" This just developed. I think it was perfect for that living on the edge concept.
Too many shootings and killings and terrorist attacks seem determined to drive us to life's cliff's ledge. I feel like we're living on the edge.
Is there anything else that you would like to add?
Now, I want to say this. Athens has been a wonderful place to raise a family. I have two daughters who are adults now, and they probably don't want to have anything else to do with Athens. They're off to their big worlds. But it was such a joy to see them grow up in this town, in this area, make friends, and develop. And in some ways, they've been sort of protected from the rest of the world. Athens is sort of that cocoon in many ways. But my wife and I tried to give them all possibilities and opportunities. They had a great experience going to Athens High. I've never seen a school that size that has so many opportunities for them. So they were in band and soccer and the track team. They got to do all of that. So that's been wonderful. So it's not only been a wonderful university town for me, it was a great place to raise my children and a great place for a family. And I guess the final thing I'll say is that, no matter where I go to next in terms of wherever God takes me, I will always remember my time here in Athens. A place that I didn't see coming, never heard of, never thought I'd have that kind of experiences here. And I'm not just saying this because we're doing this, but you guys have given me the opportunity to live out a musician's dreams. People ask me all the time, where do you do your recording and who do you work with? How do you get all that done? And I don't even have the words to describe in terms of what it's like to be able to come out to the studio, work on stuff with you guys. You guys are willing to add things and play around with things and allow me to get things out. And I'll tell you a really great thing is I can call you and say, bring me 2 copies of a CD or 200, right? It's none of this sort of, you got to have 100 or no less than 100. It's been phenomenal in that regard. So again, thank you for this opportunity. I love Southeast Ohio, and it will always have a fond place in my heart in memories.
I'm so tired of living on the edge, so sick of not knowing what to do. Sick of not knowing what to do. But I believe we can find peace and love between me and you. I know what made us great. I know what keeps us great. It's peace and love and harmony between me and you. Between me and you.